Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to AJ103 Criminal Evidence Online. My name is Tony Farrar, and I am your instructor for this semester. A little bit of background about me. I have over 34 years in law enforcement, retiring in December of 2015 as the Chief of Police for the Rialto Police Department located in San Bernardino County. My education consists of a master's degree in police administration, a master's degree in business administration, and a master's degree in criminology and police management from the University of Cambridge Institute of Criminology in England. Now, my goal for this semester is to make this class as interesting and enjoyable as possible, but I also want you to learn as much about policing as you can, specifically in the area as it relates to evidence. And policing, of course, the career track that I hope that each of you will pursue. Now, before we get into our discussion this evening and we go through the syllabus and look at different aspects of things that you need to do in order to be successful for the course, I thought it would be appropriate to go back to this picture and just momentarily fade back into summer and the enjoyable time off we had of relaxation and hopefully vacations and things like that. Like this picture you have before you is a picture of the beach in the Bahamas. Now, while I am not on that little sailboat or sailboard that you see out in the photo, I am the one that took the picture, so I was in a nice, warm, comfortable place and had an enjoyable time for a portion of the summer. But now we are back into fall and we're back into the swing of learning, and away goes the picture. And here we are back into reality where we're going to go ahead and cover week one and talk about the syllabus and the course in general. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. So this is criminal evidence. It's AJ103. The section number is 4404. This is, of course, fall of 2017, and it is an online class. My information is listed here at the top under instructor contact information. I am currently located at the Menifee campus, and there's the address and my office phone number as well. The best way to reach me is by email. So I have my email address there for you. I am on Twitter at Professor Farrar. I'm not that good at it, but at least I'm on it. And you can try to contact me via Twitter if that happens to be your thing. Two other important links that I posted on here for you. The first would be a link to the Criminal Justice Club. It's been up and running for a couple of semesters now. It's an awesome opportunity to meet and study with and hang out with others that are interested in criminal justice. And check us out on our Facebook page, and that's where this link will take you to. And then finally, if you're interested in career or employment information, you can look at the CTE website, and I've also supplied a link there for you as well. Now, even though this is an online class, I do keep office hours for my face-to-face courses, and of course, you could go to the campuses as well. And my office hours are Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12:30 to 1:45, and then again from 3:30 to 4:45. Now, for online students, I am always available Wednesday and Thursday nights from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. And of course, I will be monitoring the courses throughout the week as well. If you do need to contact me for any reason, excuse me, please send me an email and preface it with the bold information that I have listed here, AJ103 4404, criminal evidence, and your name, because that will help me get the information on what student you are and what class you're in a lot quicker than trying to dig through the 8 classes that I currently teach and try to find which one of those classes you may be enrolled in. So simply sending me an email with your name on it may not help me, because it is difficult to remember every single student and which class they might be in. So I put an example there using my name for our AJ103-4404 criminal evidence, And again, that will help me respond to you in a very quick manner. I will get back to you no later than 24 hours, but usually I'm quite a bit quicker than that. So you might even be pleasantly surprised. I will email you back pretty fast after you send me an email. Now, if you are requested to submit a written assignment in Canvas, which you will be, please submit it in Microsoft Word, because if you send it in another type of word processing format like WordPerfect or something, there's no real guarantee that I will be able to open it. And for just consistency purposes, let's all use Microsoft Word. As of note, understand the syllabus is a living document subject to change during the semester. You will be made aware of any changes when they occur in the form of an email or an announcement via Canvas. So please monitor your Canvas announcements. If you have any questions about the course, again, please email me. I would also suggest that you print out a hard copy for your reference and review. Keep it where you study or where you do your homework. That way you can keep track of all of those due dates for things like tests or quizzes or your midterm paper or discussion boards or anything else. But it is your responsibility to make sure that you know this syllabus well and that you are able to keep track of all of the due dates and deadlines. So our course description: this course provides knowledge and theory regarding criminal evidence as it relates to the criminal justice field, including the use of evidence in criminal cases and the basic rules of evidence in both state and federal court. And a lot of case laws. Now, you're not going to be tested necessarily on a lot of case laws, but we're going to talk about a lot of those case laws, those Supreme Court case laws that really impact the rules of evidence. And we'll have a lot of fun with it. And there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to do in this class, and I think it's going to be an exciting semester. The book that we're going to use is going to be as listed right here. It's Criminal Evidence. It's the 8th edition, published in 2014. The publisher is Cengage Learning, and the ISBN number and a photo is there, just in case you need it. The book is available at the San Jacinto and Menifee bookstores, but more than likely you purchase books wherever you already purchased them at, or you rent them, or whatever way works best for you. Now, the California Penal Code, it is not a primary book, but we will be referring to this book from time to time. If you don't have a copy of the Penal Code, that's okay, because you can access all of this information online. This is going to help you as we discuss several different types of codes. And for any type of code you want to find, whether it's a penal code or a health and safety code or a welfare and institution code, you can go to legalinfo.ca.gov, the link here, and it will take you to a page where you can find any of those codes that you need. Course guidelines: this is a fairly fast-paced course with a lot of reading and information. And it is a lot of information that you're going to get every week. And it is important that you keep up with all of the readings. Don't rely just on the PowerPoint lectures to get you through the class. Now, some of the legal terms in case laws might be difficult initially for you to understand. Therefore, you need to read the textbook chapters thoroughly and carefully to fully understand these things that we're talking about and add context to the subject matter. So it's important that what you don't want to do is just memorize. We can memorize terms and definitions, and we can memorize case laws, and we can memorize, dates and things like that. But I'd like you to venture out a little bit further and actually be able to not only define things, but be able to apply those things that you've defined and apply them to the rules of evidence, or apply them to the courts, or apply them to policing. And I think that's going to make a better learning environment for you in the end. Now, in some cases, you might have to look up a word or a term on the internet, penal code, law dictionary. Again, you can use Google, Bing, any one of those search engines, and you'll be able to find whatever it is that you need. If you do have a problem with the concept or something that we're talking about, let me know, and we can discuss it in Canvas in the discussion area. I have a separate area set up for general questions, and you can post the information there, and either your classmates or myself or all of us can have a discussion about whatever it is that you may not understand, because chances are if you don't understand, maybe somebody else doesn't understand either, and it'll just make for better conversation and better learning. So what are the expectations of the class? Well, there's a few, and one of them is that you'll participate in and complete a variety of activities that are going to help us achieve these learning objectives that we just went by in the syllabus. Now, the first one would be reading required materials, PowerPoints, lecture notes, articles, oh yes, and the textbook chapters. While some students think they can get by without a textbook, and you might think you're one of them, this criminal evidence course is full of information, and it really is necessary to have a textbook, again, to be able to add context to the subject matter that we're going over. 2, viewing the weekly videos relating to each chapter's PowerPoints with audio. I do narrated PowerPoints. So you can, if you don't want to hear my voice, you can look at the regular PowerPoint. If you want to hear my voice, you can listen to the narrated version, and then the case study videos, case law study videos, or just case videos. These are things that I'm going to post, articles, videos, and things that are going to help add context to what we're going over. Number 3, participating in thoughtful and timely discussions via the discussion board. So thoughtful doesn't mean responding like, hey, yes, professor, I agree. Thoughtful means taking some time to digest the information and formulating a well thought out idea that you want to present to the class on a certain topic. And timely means within a certain time frame, because these discussion boards, they're going to open and close during a certain period of time. And you're going to need to post your discussion board between that time period. So remember, thoughtful and timely discussions via the discussion board. Number 4, completing online and timed quizzes. You'll have a 10-question quiz pretty much every week, 1 point per question, and this is to help you kind of get the gist, if you will, of the chapter and what the chapter's about. Number 5, completing online and timed exams. These are chapter exams that typically encompass several chapters. Number 6, complete the midterm writing assignment, and don't panic, I'll go over that as we get further into the discussion. Now, of note, failure to participate in the discussion boards, missing quizzes or exams, failing to turn in any other assignments, or missing a combination of these activities may cause you to be dropped from the class. So are you ready for an online class? Well, please make sure that you are. If you're not sure, you can go to the link that I have listed right here, and it'll take you to a page that's titled What is Expected of an Online Student, and there you will find some video tutorials and some other important related information that will help you prep yourself to make sure that you are ready for an online class. Participating in discussion boards. These discussion boards are an important feature for this class. Now, there's going to be a total of 4 discussions, the first of which is a survey and the check-in that you should have already done before the start of week 1. If you haven't done that, you should probably go do that very, very soon, because you could be at risk of being dropped from the class. So the first one is, again, a survey with some questions, and it's kind of the check-in for the class. The other discussions will be on relevant topics relating to law enforcement and or the courts. And keep in mind, while these discussions are not given letter grades, they are a means whereby I can gauge your ability to interact with other students, interact with me, and formulate thoughts on important topics. So, while they're not graded with a letter grade, they are still required and will be given a credit, no credit mark, which means they are a graded assignment. So failure to complete discussion board assignments will be considered the same as not completing any other assignment. And if you don't do several assignments, again, you could be dropped from the course. So just keep that in mind. Technology responsibility. You are responsible for your computer equipment and internet connection independent of the campus. You will need to plan your coursework accordingly to be able to accommodate any type of computer-related issues or any other problems. Now, just because you have some problems does not mean this will automatically be grounds for relaxing the deadlines. If you have a major malfunction, you need to get in touch with me as quickly as possible so we can work this out, and this will be on a case-by-case basis. But trust me when I say this, make sure you have a backup plan in case something goes wrong, and don't wait until the last minute to submit your assignments. So an example would be if your assignments are due by 11 p.m. on Tuesday nights, don't start working on it at 10:30 p.m. because Murphy's Law is going to kind of come about. It always does. And everybody knows what Murphy's Law is, right? You know, things that, you know, what can go wrong, might go wrong, or could go wrong. And if you start at 10:30 and you run into a problem, you may not make that 11 o'clock deadline. And at the end of the day, that's going to be your responsibility to make sure that you had built in a backup plan or some extra time. Moving on. Functions of Canvas use. So for you to be successful, there's a couple of things I want to talk about Canvas, because we're no longer using Blackboard. We're now using Canvas. So there's a few minor changes to the way things look. For the most part, all of the information you will need are going to be put into weekly modules. When I was running these courses on Blackboard, they would be in weekly folders. Well, now they're in weekly modules. So this is where these modules, this is where your weekly assignments will be located, and I'm going to title each module so you'll know exactly which week the information is for. So example, module 1 will be titled week 1, and week 1 will contain all of the assignments you need to complete week 1. I mean, that makes sense. Modules will contain things like audio lectures and PowerPoints and links to videos and articles, exams, quizzes, and other related guides. And the real goal here is for you to be able to find everything in one spot. So instead of folders, they're modules, but they will be titled by week. Discussions. This is where group discussions will occur on various topics. I will also have a general discussion board for general questions. And I may also post links to videos or articles in this area as well. Announcements, well, that's pretty self-explanatory. This is where you're going to find announcements for the class, including relevant information on changes to exams, quizzes, or upcoming information I really need you to know. The gradebook, self-explanatory, that's the gradebook. That's where your grades will be. If you take an online quiz or an online chapter exam, those grades will calculate and populate right away. If it's something that you have to submit, like an essay or extra credit, it may take time for me to grade it and a little bit of time to get that information entered into the gradebook. Extra credit, this is the area or module or area where you're going to find the extra credit assignment. Now, extra credit, don't bank on always having extra credit to bail you out. So that's why it's important that you do the quizzes and you do the exams and you turn in all of your assignments. But there is going to be an opportunity for extra credit. The extra credit is going to be date specific. So please make sure that you read the assignment carefully and take note of the dates involved. It's going to open on a certain date and it's going to close on a certain date. And only during that time period can you submit extra credit. Okay? Moving on, instructional methods, we'll skip that. You can kind of read that at your leisure. Academic support for you. If I can't get you what you need, you can always receive some help from the Learning Resource Center at MSJC or through the help desk. Student Code of Conduct. Well, we're an online course, so typically we won't have to worry about anything in the classroom, but I did want to point out something that we call netiquette. And basically, this is the etiquette of the internet or cyberspace. And it is, in essence, a set of rules for behaving properly online. I've included a link here to an author that talks about core rules of netiquette, if you will. What I really just want you to understand is that when we have these discussion boards and we're talking about significant issues, we're going to have differences of opinion. We're all a little bit different, and some of us might believe this and some of us might believe that, and because of that we might get into some discussions, and that's good, and disagreements, and that's good. But at the end of the day, we need to understand that we have to respect everybody's opinion. And of course, at the end of the day, what we want to do is have a nice chat about a hot topic or significant issue and learn from it, where we can all take something away from a discussion that we might have. So enough said on that. And now the fun part, because I know you've been just like waiting and waiting and waiting for this. So exams and quizzes. The quiz and exam questions will come directly from the textbook, lecture, PowerPoints, or designated articles or videos. Now each week you're going to have a reading assignment, a lecture, a PowerPoint, a short 10-question quiz covering that corresponding chapter. Now in addition, throughout the entire semester, there's going to be 3 chapter exams of 50 questions each, 4 discussion boards. Remember, the first was the survey and the check-in, and 1 midterm writing assignment. Now, of note, and it's really important that you take note of this, all lectures, quizzes, exams, discussions, and any other assignment, they're going to be posted and available on Wednesday nights at 5 p.m. That's when our week starts for this online course. Now, all assignments are going to be due by 11 p.m. on the following Tuesday night. So let's look at an example so you can get what I mean. So we're looking like right here. So as an example, class will officially open on Wednesday, August 16th. That's tonight. You're listening to me talk. And we're going over the week 1 information. So it opened on August 16th at 5 p.m. You will have until the following Tuesday, or August 22nd, at 11 p.m. to complete everything in the week 1 module. So that means that everything needs to be uploaded, turned in, or whatever the assignments are, by that following Tuesday night at 11 p.m. Now, since you have 6 days to complete each one of these weeks or all these assignments, there's no makeups. Okay, for anything. If you have a major issue or something that you believe you're entitled to a makeup for, or some major illness or anything else, don't assume, okay? Get a hold of me and let's work out something in advance that I can go ahead and agree with. Okay, so don't just make an assumption that because you missed something, you're automatically going to get to make it up. It will be a case-by-case basis, and I will be the one to decide whether or not that occurs. But get with me so I understand that you're having some type of an issue. Now, also note, on weeks that you have a chapter exam, you're still required to do the short quiz, and this is to make sure that you've been exposed to each chapter. And the helpful hint here is do the quiz first before the chapter exam. Now, when we talk about modules, because we went through this part up here and we talked about how things are laid out, I'm going to back up for a second and I'm going to show you what I mean by looking at modules. So you're only going to see a portion of this, and this of course is from the instructor view, but you'll see what I mean like right here. So this is what your screen will look like. These might be colored differently or whatever, but when you're in Canvas, this is the look. So the first module I have is important information. So if you click on this, it's going to tell you info that's important that I want you to know. Here's the module that has everything for your midterm essay. This is the link that'll take you to where the information is on your essay, although it is in the syllabus as well, and this is where you would go to upload your essay. Here is the audio version of the lecture on how to prepare your essay. And we'll talk about your essay in a minute. Here's a PowerPoint slide on the same thing, on how to write APA, an example of an APA paper, a writing rubric, and a rubric basically it'll show you how we're going to grade your paper. This is a link on how to upload your paper, but this is what I really wanted you to see. This is week 1. This is what we're doing tonight, okay? You click on here, here's the course overview. It's going to talk a little bit about me and about the course. This is the first discussion board. This is the check-in that you should have already done, and if you haven't done it, you need to do it no later than week 1, but it should have been done before week 1. I have in here the Bill of Rights, a PowerPoint on the Bill of Rights, or a PDF version of this PowerPoint on the Bill of Rights. Two different types of viewing, if you will, same thing. You need to know the Bill of Rights. It's very, very important and critical to what we're going to be talking about. And then finally, some videos on the court system, because I want you to know how the court system operates. So if you did all of this, this is week 1 that I'm circling right here. So that's everything for week 1. So you can walk through all these, make sure you get them all done, and then you're going to go into the next week on week 2 when week 2 opens. And I'll show you a little visual on what that's going to look like. So those are the weeks or the modules. Now, here's the grading system that I'm going to be using. So it goes on a point system, and you can see how it's kind of laid out. Your assignments are laid out this way. Chapter 1 exam is 50 points. 2 is 50. 3, your final is 50. Now notice down here, your final exam is not cumulative, meaning that it only covers the chapters assigned. So it's not going to go back and look at things in your chapter 1 or your chapter 2 exam. It's going to be things that are only relevant to the chapter 3 exam. And again, I'll give you a visual in a second. Your midterm paper is worth 30 points, and all of your 10-point quizzes are worth 150 for a total of 330. And then here you do have an opportunity to make extra credit of up to 15 to 20 points. In this class, it's probably going to be 15 points, and there is a separate area for your extra credit assignment. Moving on, here's some important dates for you to know, and I'll let you kind of go through that. And now we'll hit your written assignment. As I stated earlier, I will post what they call a rubric in Canvas, and that's basically just kind of a diagram that you can look at that has columns that will tell you what I'm looking for as far as grading goes in each specific area on how your paper is going to be graded. Your midterm paper is going to be a brief on a United States Supreme Court case, and this case is the Supreme Court of the United States, Mapp versus Ohio. So if you were to use a search engine and you type in Mapp versus Ohio, you'll get several hits on it, probably thousands, and you should be able to glean enough information to get this paper done. The brief should contain the following information that I have listed here: the issue of the case, the facts, the finding, meaning what was the outcome or the holding, the rationale, meaning like why did the justices think the way they did or decide the way they did, and then most importantly, your opinion. What do you think about the case? Your paper needs to provide at least 2 references. Again, there's no makeups if you don't turn it in. The paper should be at least 3 pages long, double-spaced, 12-point font, with a cover sheet and a reference page. Now those 2 pages, the cover sheet and reference page, don't count towards the 3 pages. So the minimum you're going to give me is 5 pages, 3 with text, a cover page, and a reference page. And you can always, of course, do more. You're going to follow the APA format, and if you need some information on that, here's a link to OWL Purdue, which is a great website that helps you when it comes to referencing and citations in APA. Also, I will post on Canvas an instructional video and PowerPoint on how to complete your paper and how to write in APA, so you can watch that. And all of the information for the midterm, as you saw, is going to be put together in that module titled Midterm Essay. So everything that you need to complete that essay is going to be together in there. And there's also going to be some information on how to upload your essay, which you saw. Plagiarism. So everybody knows what that is. Copying even a part of a sentence from a text, article, or news story in a paper without acknowledging the source or using quotes is, in fact, plagiarism. Copying and changing just a few words is still plagiarism, so make sure that you cite your references in text. And that's why it's really important that you watch that video, that instructional video that I prepared for you to kind of show you how to do in-text citations. Okay, so you can read this part at your leisure. And then finally, as we get towards the course outline, this is where I'm going to show you how the class lays out and how each week basically works. So if you look at week 1, that's what we're in right now, August 16th. It opened on the 16th at 5 p.m. And we were going to cover things like introductions and course information and the syllabus review. And those are things that we're doing tonight. And of course, you have that check-in that you need to make sure that you get done. That first discussion board needs to be there as well. Week 2, which will be the following week. So it'll open on August 23rd. And when will it close? Well, the following Tuesday, which would be the day before this one here. So August 29th at 11 p.m. So week 2, we'll start off with chapter 1, introduction to criminal evidence. We'll have a PowerPoint, there'll be a narrated lecture, there'll be some links to some videos or some articles, and then you will take your first weekly quiz, and that will cover chapter 1. Now, if you do all of this, that's week 2. You've completed week 2. Week 3 is kind of the same thing. You can look. Week 4 is the same thing. Now week 5 is going to change a little bit because we've added something. So it's going to open on September 13th at 5 p.m. It'll close when? The day before this one, the 19th at 11 p.m. So you have that time in between there to do this. It's going to be covering chapter 4, types of evidence. So you'll have the PowerPoint, the lecture. You'll have probably some videos or some articles to read that'll help add context to the chapter. You'll have a weekly quiz, your 10-question quiz on chapter 4, types of evidence, and then you're going to have your second discussion board. So you'll go to the discussion area, you'll click on that, you'll see discussion board number 2, it will give you the topic, and that's when you will submit your thoughtful and awesome and timely discussions. Does that make sense? And then one more to kind of give you a little bit more. So let's add in one more little twist so you can see what it looks like. We'll look at week 6. Now it'll open September 20th at 5 p.m. and it'll close on the 26th at 11 p.m. But for week 6, we're going to cover chapter 5, which is direct and circumstantial evidence. You'll have a PowerPoint and a lecture. There'll be articles and videos and things that add context to your chapter reading, etc. And you'll read your textbook, right? Because that's what you're going to do, because you'll have a textbook. Here, though, you're going to take your weekly quiz, your 10-question quiz on chapter 5, and then you have your first chapter exam. So you're going to do both of these. Okay? Hint, do the quiz first. Okay? And then your first chapter exam will cover chapters 1 through 5, the ones that we just went through. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Does that make sense? So then you'll see other due dates that are in here, when other discussion boards are due, your second chapter exam, when that's due, when your midterm writing assignment is due in week 12, that's when that needs to be turned in. Now we're going to go down to week 15, because on week 15 you'll notice you don't have any assignments. There's no weekly PowerPoint or chapter to cover or anything else. So this is when we are going to do our extra credit assignment. Now, you have a total possible 15 extra bonus points for this. I would highly suggest you do this assignment. It's not very hard, and it's not very time consuming either. Take a little bit of time and get yourself that extra credit to help you keep your grade up really high in case you need it, or if you have a bad day on a particular quiz or a chapter exam, this will help kind of offset that. So as you go through and you look at your Canvas modules, you will see one under week 15 that will say extra credit. You would click on that. It'll tell you what the assignment is. Now remember, because it's an assignment and it's in this week, it will open on November 22nd at 5 p.m., but it will close on the 28th, the following Tuesday, okay, right before this day, at 11 p.m. So you have between that time period to turn this in. If you're late on getting that in, you're not going to be able to submit the extra credit assignment. And then finally, week 18, just so you know, you don't get an entire week to do your final exam. You'll get 3 days to do it, so you'll have plenty of time to do that. And so you'll have the 13th through the 15th to submit it. I will keep reminding you as well, and I may even try to open it a little bit early if need be, but typically you'll have those 3 days to complete your final exam. So that is the end of our syllabus review and information relating to successful completion of this particular class. One final note, just because you are in an online class, that doesn't mean that you won't have the ability to participate in some out of class things that we do, or even some things that we do in face-to-face classes that are kind of cool. An example would be last semester we did a DNA lab where students were able to sit down in a laboratory setting, learn about DNA from a biology instructor, and then we actually, every student got to process DNA and to see how that went. Sometimes we'll bring in guest speakers like canine officers or SWAT officers or evidence technicians or what have you, and you are always welcome to attend any of those face-to-face courses when we're doing a hands-on type activity like that or having a guest speaker. And I will make sure to send out an announcement as well, so you'll be able to receive that invite and show up if that's what you want to do. And then finally, you're going to be kind of my guinea pig class on something new. Because this is a criminal evidence class and it is online, there are going to be some things that via video that I will have some students or other individuals, possibly even myself, doing certain types of experiments on video, and you'll be able to watch those experiments and see how they turn out, whether they turn out or not. But we'll see how all of those different things do relating to certain aspects of criminal evidence, and you can kind of tell me what you think about those videos and whether or not you thought they were informative or not. But I'll let you know when those things come about, and you'll be the first class that'll have an opportunity to participate or see that. So with that being said, that is the end of the discussion for today, and I look forward to talking to you all in week 2. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please post them on the discussion board or email me, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. So again, until week 2, that's it.